Hey guys, Jordan West back with another episode of Secrets to Scaling Your E-Commerce Brand. Today, we're going to be talking finances again, guys. Why? Because I am seeing so many D2C bankruptcies right now. 3 brands that I know incredibly well, 7-figure brands who were just undercapitalized and just didn't see this tsunami coming. I think one of the main reasons that a lot of this is happening is just fundamentals, right? It comes down to fundamentals. And don't worry, this isn't a big like, hey, you should be doing this kind of thing. There's some simple principles here that will really help us actually see what's going on in our business. And that's what Wayne and I are going to be talking about today in the service sector, software sector. This is really interesting because when you really think about going from a zero to a paying customer, what actually matters, right? The only thing that matters is that you're solving a problem that it's keeping them up at night. That's legitimately it. Wayne, what problem were you guys going out to solve? Where did you see that there was a big gap in accounting and bookkeeping in the D2C space?
What I quickly learned was people weren't there yet. Founders simply didn't have their basics in order to move to a place where we could teach them and help predict the future. We simply needed to help them understand the history of those decisions in the report card of numbers and how those decisions were impacting their business.
Actually makes sense from a financial standpoint. Like, what do we actually need to do?
I think often many founders were not trained in the language of financial literacy. So some of it is getting to a place in basic organization, in connecting the various payment gateways across Shopify, understanding the various sales channels to which the brands are selling within, and getting it to a place where there's a single source of truth, at least across the sales and expense numbers within a given time frame. So for us, it's typically 1 month. It's a traditional accounting close period.
I think with contribution margin in general is one of those things, if your agency is not doing an in-depth financial analysis, I would run, because how in the world are they going to know what to do? But this is actually one of those things that comes up a lot in trying to explain this. Do you mind just explaining like the really simple, like what is contribution margin?
Like just look on DTC Twitter, search for contribution margin. You'll find amazing insights into how to practically get to this number. But at its heart, it's simply the fuel, the funding available after your cost of goods sold, your cost of sales, which is your packaging, fulfillment, shipping, payment processing charges. If you're using PayPal, there's a fee for that. So it's a variable cost that fluctuates based on the order volumes to which you're selling. So what's left after the product cost, your fulfillment, your payment processing fees, and your marketing expenses is what's called your contribution margin. Some even call it out and say contribution margin after marketing. So it makes it very clear that these are the funds remaining to cover your wages and team costs and the fixed operating expenses, like maybe you have your own warehouse and there's rent, electricity, fixed costs attached to that. That contribution margin is your funding that allows for you to spend on those areas and, more importantly, have profit at the end of the day. Bottom line, EBITDA, operating margin, whatever name it may be called, it's that moolah, that cash that then finds its way into your bank account at the end of each month. If my goal was to get to a better contribution margin, that change over time is your gauge on whether or not you're performing better or not. So understand first, what is that baseline? And then from there, determine what your goals are, reflect on that over a period of time, reassess and see if you're meeting those goals through those changes you've made within your business.
Where are you seeing brands go wrong and how can they recover?
It's really getting back, getting organized, having a system in place with the software, the people, and the workflows to understand where your numbers are minimally each month.
Don't run your own books. Why would you run your own books? That is ridiculous. If you're going to run your own books, then go have your own bookkeeping service. That is not what you should be doing in your business. It's kind of one of those absolute no-brainers. Another one, get out of your emails. Get an assistant. You don't need to be in your emails all the time. Like those are things that just like take up so much time that it's not valuable. Wayne, what is your secret to scaling?
I think having just a keen awareness of what it's looked like for me as an entrepreneur, but also that experience in serving hundreds of brands. I think the secret is really confidence. And that's confidence in your numbers, confidence in yourself, in your team and in your business. And as an entrepreneur, of course, and as an accountant, I'm biased to understanding your numbers, as I believe that's the report card and the success of all those other factors.
This is something that I think is the horrific thing that has gone on in the e-commerce industry. And it's these short-term loans, right? It's these short-term high fee loans that just eat into your cash flow. Do you think that there's an alternative for lots of the brands that listen to this have to make $1 million POs on their products?
I think they are predatory. I think they're hitting people when they're most at need. I think best trick is better planning. There's amazing resources and methods to do it. Profit First was a very in vogue book a number of years ago, but the methodology of simply, it's like Christmas, right? Christmas comes about every year. You're going to restock product every year, multiple times a year. Plan ahead of time. As you're seeing the results, the margins, the cash flow from those sales, set aside funds for those restock POs. But if you're at a place where you are scaling well above that opportunity and there is a need to source lending, be mindful. Work through a weekly cash flow tracking and analysis. Work through in a forecast what those effective interest rates look like in terms of the payback. There's amazing resources out there.
Wayne, thank you again so much for your time today.
Jordan, appreciate being here. Thanks so much for having me. I enjoyed the conversation.